To all of our local, our regional and our international viewers, thank you kindly for choosing us here at Real TV, where we bring reality to you. My dear friends, a very warm welcome to another edition of the program Conversations with Zelisa, where we continue to inform, educate, empower and answer those unanswered questions. I am Zelisa Budusing Rupani, humbly inviting you to sit back, relax, enjoy, get your notebook, get your pen so you could take notes and important numbers that will be helpful for you and your loved ones. Directing this morning and in Master Control, we've got Nathaniel Reed. On behalf of the team, we'd like to wish each and every one of you a marvelous day today. It's Monday, the 2nd of February 2026. The essence of time and the understanding of how valuable time is January gone. January 2026 will never come again. That's how important time is. And today we are already in the 2nd day of February. So I wish you all a beautiful, blessed, productive and great day today. I trust all is well with you. You're in good health and you're having yourself a beautiful day, reminding you life is what you make of it. If you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you and yours, that someone special. Nathaniel, can we please go to our quote for today, please? Your purpose is not just about what you do, but how you impact others along the way. I'm going to read this again because sometimes we ourselves don't know what our purpose is. We're looking for answers, we've got all these questions. But I need to remind you today that your purpose is not just about what you do. It's not about what you do, but how you impact others along the way. And that means every single day, the things that you do to make a difference. Do you have a positive impact or a negative one? Are you going to uplift somebody's spirits or are you going to pull them down? Are you going to share a smile or something negative? And we have the thank you, Nathaniel. We have the power within ourselves to do that. We have the power within ourselves to change the way we see things, the way we impact others, the way we influence others, the interaction we have with others. A simple thing as when you answer the phone. How do you answer the phone? Hello? Or do you say, good morning, how can I help you? Or good morning, how are you doing? It's about simple things that we take for granted that makes an impact on others. Yeah? So thank you, Nathaniel. If you're celebrating a birthday, we just want to wish you all a great day today. Today I'm in conversation with Mr. Nigel Phillip, and when we talk about technology, we're very fortunate to have him with us on the telephone. Mr. Phillip is the National Council President. He is the president of the St. Vincent de Paul of Trinidad and Tobago, but he's based in sunshiny and beautiful Tobago. Tobago, as you know, is very close and dear to my heart. I always say Tobago is a slice of heaven. And today he's going to be talking to us about how do we treat the poor and the vulnerable in our society. Mr. Phillip, good morning, sir, and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Nice to be here this morning.
Thank you, sir. What's the weather like in Tobago this morning, Mr. Phillip?
It's very much shiny with very little rain in between. Yes.
Okay. So it's nice and
nice
cool.
outside.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
nice
first, let me say thanks for joining us. And, what you do is certainly impacting on so many people. You are the National Council President of the St. Vincent de Paul. Now, we've been hearing about the St. Vincent de Paul for a very long time. Since I know myself, you could remember how active, how important the role that they play in Trinidad and Tobago. So perhaps you could give us a little history or understanding for those who are not aware. Perhaps you could enlighten us.
Sure, no problem. Okay, so the organization St. Vincent de Paul was first born out of Paris in France in the year 1833. And the founder of that organization was a young student by the guy of name of Blessed Frederick Ozana. He was a university student, and with other students, they would have decided to provide support to the poor student or students who could have barely afford certain basic needs at the university where they attended.
Right.
Now, it got its name St. Vincent de Paul, right? It back from a 17th century French Catholic priest, in which the organization was named after. And his long life service was serving charity and service to the poor within the Catholic Church and within the various parish that they would have lived. However, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul has been operating in Trinidad since the year 1857. So it means that we are the longest non-profit organization in Trinidad and Tobago that has been operating based in the Catholic Church. So that is approximately 169 years since we have been operating in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the things, sorry, go ahead.
No. 169 years they've been operating in
Yeah.
Trinidad and Tobago. That's awesome. Yes.
So we have a membership of 655 members throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And within each parish, a parish is like a district or area where the churches function or operates out of. We have several conferences. Conferences are made up of members who would provide the work within the parish to provide the support to those persons in that district who are going through who may need some sort of financial support because they loss of employment or poverty or various different things that they would have faced within that area. So food support, sometimes medical support, book support, and different sort of support that we will offer to persons.
So Mr. Philip, I just want to understand something. Now, when we think of St. Vincent de Paul, I'll tell you, the first thing that comes to mind would be clothing. You know, I know in terms of your collecting clothes and distributing for those in need, I know that. But now you're telling us that you do so much more than just clothing. You give financial assistance.
Yes.
And school supplies and things like that.
Yes, we do.
But that's
yes.
awesome. That's good to know. Please, sir, go right ahead.
Right. So I was saying we have various conferences within the various parishes throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And also we would have homes, elderly homes that are under our purview that we manage and have oversight where we take care of the aging. And we used to have a home called Zelisa Nursery or Zelisa Children's Home, which we recently closed because of financial obligations. We have halfway house or shelters for men, both in Port of Spain, Duncan Street, and also in San Fernando. And we also provide also a home for women who have mental problems that is based in Baratari. So presently we should have about 6 functioning homes under the organization where we provide the support for persons who cannot pay a full amount of money that other homes will charge, and we just charge a basic percentage from their allowances to provide care and support for those persons.
But this is amazing. So you have homes for the elderly, and you also
Yes.
have a shelter for the men. And then
Yes,
you
we
also
do
have a home for those who have mental problems. I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something, Mr. Philip. For the last week, I have seen firsthand, I've had the experience firsthand to see how difficult it is for people who are experiencing health problems when it comes to finances to choose to go to a private hospital as opposed to the public hospital. And the expense is alarming. It's scary. I'm still trying to understand that.
Right.
So when you talk about the opportunity for especially our elderly who are left sometimes alone, they don't have family members because everybody's consumed, or perhaps their kids are away, or they don't understand the importance of taking care of the elderly, right? You also have homes. When you talk about the cost, is it that you, when you say a fraction, can you explain that? Because I'm sure it's now going to be an option for many people out there. So perhaps you could start with the elderly homes enlightening us. When you say a fraction, could you give us, some clarity so people will have a better understanding of what their options are?
Sure, no problem. So, normal average elderly care in Trinidad and Tobago will cost you between six to maybe $20,000 a month, depending on the institution that you will place your loved one into.
Right.
Now, right. So at the Society of St. Vincent for our homes, we have one in Tobago, one in Arima, one in San Fernando, and we recently closed one in Diego Martin. But however, the cost of our care would range between 3,500 to 5,000 a month. And that 3,500 will be based on basically maybe what the family could afford. And we try to meet the family as best as far as possible. And it will range where, for example, the 3,500 to 4,000 average would be for persons who are strong and able-bodied. And between 4,000 to $5,000, it will be for persons who are bedridden, who need more intense care and those things like that. So they will have to have monitored all the time caregivers who will attend to their needs. So in their homes, they are provided with therapy, they provide with 3 square meals a day, and also their clothes and everything will be laundry. So they are very much taken care of within the facility wherever they are placed.
Well, the thing is, sir, I'm sure there are many people who are opening up now and being aware that it's an option. Now, a lot of people will probably take their pension or their money because of they don't have any other source of income or anybody else assisting them, and say, well, perhaps I could use this monthly money to put towards going into one of the homes, which I think would be a great option, because for many reasons people are alone and they should not be alone, especially the elderly. And again, I want to jump in and say that I've seen in the past week seeing a very, very close person to me from one extreme to the next, meaning from talking, laughing, walking, to being hooked up on a machine, or machines rather, in 1 week. And it's alarming. So I think it's a very good option for people when it comes, and I can understand the extra $4,000 to $5,000 is when they need that extra help because they can't get up and help themselves, or they're not walking, as you say, they're not as mobile. They need someone perhaps to feed them. They need someone to take them to the bathroom to give them a bath, or perhaps they can't even do that, and so they will have to, so it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
I would say this. What I could say, if you want to hear like various stories of these elderly lives, some of these elderlies are neglected by their families. And sometimes because of bad relationships that they would have had with their family or their children, their family wants to have nothing to do with them. So sometimes we become their family. And sometimes when they die and the family don't claim the body, we are the ones who are responsible for having to have that body disposed of at our expense with the assistance of the state.
Right. So you work hand in hand with the state, am I correct?
Yeah. Yes, we do. We do have a relationship with the state.
Great,
yes.
Great. Mr. Philip, at this time we're going to go to a very short break. When we return, we continue our conversation and we continue to talk about, how do we make a difference in the lives of those that are in need? What do we do? How can we step up when we return?
Walter Stewart, President of the Trinidad and Tobago National Council of Parent-Teacher Associations, Incorporated. Join us every Thursday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Real TV, where we look at NPTA Speaks, National Parent-Teacher Association Speaks, on topical and relevant issues pertaining to parents, teachers, education, and students of Trinidad and Tobago. This, of course, encapsulates local, regional, and international audiences every Thursday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Real TV, NPTA Speaks.
Join me, your host, Smitty, on A Man's Perspective, right here on Real TV from 6 to 7 p.m. every Monday. Keep it locked.
Hi, I'm Naka, introducing to you Bridging the Gap, where we touch on the news, discuss social issues and current affairs with a twist. Every Monday to Friday in a real time, right here on Real TV.
I am Zelisa Rupani, inviting you to join me for the rebirth of Apne Sitare, Our Stars, a vibrant and spectacular show celebrating the incredible local talents of the sons and daughters of Trinidad and Tobago. Experience the beauty of our culture through singing, dancing, and musical performances as we keep the arts alive and shining bright. Tune in right here on Real TV every Sunday from 1 p.m. for Apne Sitare, Our Stars. See you there.
To all of our local, our regional and our international viewers, thank you kindly for choosing us here at Real TV, where we bring reality to you. Today I'm in conversation with Mr. Nigel Phillip. Mr. Phillip is the National Council President of the St. Vincent de Paul in Trinidad and Tobago. And as he explained, they've been in existence for 169 years. Their head office, where it all began, was in France, in Paris. And so, he is the National Council President of the association here in Trinidad and Tobago, currently located in Tobago. Mr. Phillip, welcome back, sir.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be back. Yes.
Now, sir, you did indicate to us with regards to the elderly homes, you spoke about the shelter for men, and we're going to go into that a bit later, as well as the home for the mentally ill, right? We're going to go into that later on, but I think it is important that we talk a little bit about those that are homeless in our country, the challenges that they're facing, the people that live on the streets. We say they're the vagrants, but these that genuinely really need help and a home, a place to have a meal, a place to take medication, a place where they could have a bath, a place where they could have their hair cut, their nails. These are things that are extremely, we take it for granted, but it's extremely important. So if you could elaborate a little bit on that and how you go about helping people, especially the elderly, I'll appreciate that.
Yeah. So earlier on, you would have spoken, if you know, of St. Vincent de Paul in providing clothing. And I would have explained to you that we do more than just clothing, and a lot of our work goes towards food support to persons who are in vulnerable situation.
Right.
Now, right. So when you look around, especially now, you will see there's a growing concern with regards to the homeless in Trinidad and Tobago, in our cities, meaning our cities, because that's where they earn their livelihood. We have to remember that these persons who live on the streets, and some of them are nuisance, they come with different baggages. So some of them may have mental health issues. Some of them would have had loss of employment and there's nowhere to go, and then therefore they were renting and they can't afford to pay their rent, and they are placed on the streets with no family support. And being homeless can also seen as a business because you beg on the street is tax free dollars, and then therefore people see it as a business. Also, it's a great concern because there are other health issues with that. But health issues is because they have no facilities to do their personal numbers, which can become a public risk, and it could also become a disease risk as well, because of that we have diseases if the city is not being cleaned properly. So there are different concerns of where homelessness is, and then we're looking at now, since a lot of people are losing their jobs, is there's this thing called the new poor, and the new poor were basically middle class income earners who never thought that they would have reached the state where they no longer have a job, their finances are completely depleted, and then therefore they earn support because of no other way to for survival. So, with all of these growing concerns, what is the society's standpoint on this? We continue to provide food support. So, different conferences throughout Trinidad and Tobago normally will give food support in terms of food and food vouchers to families once a month to help the situation. And those vouchers of food support will range between $200 to $500 or $600, so average of 30 or more families every month.
How many
And
families?
therefore,
May I ask, sir? How many families?
30, between 30 to 50 families average a month.
Every
We
month,
would
okay.
provide.
And
And
that is
that's
your
in different.
commitment. That is your commitment. Is that across the board, Trinidad and Tobago?
It may not be across the board because there are some conferences that are poorer than some. So, for example, if you're in a rural community where the funds are not coming in as much as possible from donors and these things like that, so your support in that community would be a little less or challenge. Where compare if you're in a community, like to say, like for example, Diego Martin, Westmoreland, or San Fernando area, certain areas where persons who give in terms of support might be very substantial, and then you might find the support are more greater in those areas
Okay.
to neighboring communities and those things like that. Yeah.
Understood. And that 30 to 40, 50 is Trinidad and Tobago, or each?
The conferences, remember I talked about conferences, right? So we have 65 conferences in Trinidad and Tobago. 65 conferences. In Tobago, we have 2 conferences. So, like for example, in Tobago, where I'm at, we would spend average of 30,000 a month to provide support to about between 30 to 40 families a month,
Right.
and this is like once a month they will get. So, like for example, in Toko, let's say Toko may not have an active company, but if Toko they may have like the funds are very limited. So they might give like 10 families or 15 families based on support from other conferences. They will get that support from. So it all depends on the area where the conferences are located, because our funds are basically through donations from companies, donations from once a month collection from the Catholic Church, and also from personal donations from members themselves that they give to support with the work of the organization.
And when you would have exhausted all of your funds, or all of, when it comes to the food, as you say, those vouchers and food, actual food products and things like that, is it that when you've exhausted, there's no other way for you to find in order to help? And I would imagine you are already very consumed, or you're already exhausted in the sense that, you know, I'm sure there are people when you have to say, no, I can't help. How does that work, sir?
You know, that is very hard to say when we say no. But also, I want to mention that part of our work is also networking with other NGO groups. So, like, for example, we network with Feel, and
Nice.
we have signed up to Feel, and Feel will give us a certain amount of food items
Nice.
when it's needed. We network with Living Waters as well, and they will
Good.
say, you know, Mr. We have XYZ. We have companies like Flour Mills who will donate flour, and we have companies like KFC and Prestige Holland. Sometimes we donate, you know, food items to provide that food support. And we have other companies
Right.
around that look to that, yes.
That you've
Yes, so
partnered with that help.
that's what we
Excellent.
partnered with.
Brilliant.
Yes,
Brilliant.
yes.
In terms of citizens, Trinidad and Tobago, do you now we understand that the sources would have to come from somewhere. How does that work for you all?
Well, remember I said that within the Catholic Church, right, there's a monthly collection that is picked up once a month for the work of the Society of St. Vincent. So all that money, that second collection, goes to the society to do its work. And also, persons may do a deed of covenant with us, deed of covenant, and that deed of covenant goes towards the work of the organization. And again, companies may give contributions towards that, and also will give substantially sometimes in their own pockets towards the work of the organization. You know, so that is what happens.
Mr. Philip, how do you vet? How do you analyze? How do you determine? Well, I know you will have to prioritize, but there's so many people. I'm sure you're bombarded every day. It's a daily thing because we have citizens in need constantly. You know, as we speak, hour by the hour. But how do you decide? Well, this person or this family is genuinely in need, because we are aware that there are people that go around saying that they need, and they go to how many different sources to get, and they, so, you know, you follow what I'm saying. How do you really vet and determine this family it needs genuinely?
That is a very good question. And
I will ask you to do this. My director is now telling me we just need to go to a short break, sir. Thank you. Just put a pin right there, and as soon as we return, I'd like you to address that. Thank you kindly. This is the program Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV. Today I'm in conversation with Mr. Nigel Philip. He is the National Council President of the St. Vincent de Paul of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's go to these messages, please.
Enjoy the music. Enjoy the vibes, but when the drinks come out, the keys stay down. Get a designated driver. Drink responsibly.
Macon Construction Company Limited. Save big whilst building stronger. We build with our Macon innovative building systems, which provides high wind speed, earthquake, sea blast and fire resistance, is thermally and acoustically insulated, provides improved construction timelines and cost savings. We provide construction services from design to finish and everything in between. Macon Construction Company Limited. Building green today with tomorrow's technology. Contact or visit us today.
Hi, I'm Joanne Ogaru, and welcome to Smart Talk. SMART is the acronym for the Single Mothers Association of Trinidad and Tobago.
And I am Melissa Brown. Smart Talk exists to give single mothers and families real conversation, real data, real advocacy.
And I am Shermaine Wickham Howe, President and founder of the Single Mothers Association, highlighting all issues affecting single mothers, facts, situation, solution, empowerment. So tune in at 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. every Wednesday on Real TV with Smart Talk.
Ready to take your sales career to the next level? If you have a passion for connecting with clients, building meaningful relationships, and delivering results, we want you on our team. Join a dynamic, motivated environment where your experience matters, your ideas are valued, and your drive defines your success. Step into a role with real opportunity. Join the sales team at Real TV, where your future begins.
Call us today at 2926470 or WhatsApp us at 3847142. You can also send an email to realtv.corporate@gmail.com.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. To all of our local, regional, international viewers, and all those of you on Tego, the app, those of you in Canada on the Caribbean Showtime television in Canada, thank you so much for choosing us, allowing us to add value and to influence you in a positive way. I always say knowledge is power, and I always remind you that the choices we make today will certainly determine our tomorrow. Choices meaning, how are we going to make a difference in somebody's life, not just ours, but the impact we have on those, especially the less fortunate. I'm in conversation today with Mr. Nigel Phillip. Mr. Phillip is the National Council President of the St. Vincent de Paul of Trinidad and Tobago, and he's based in Tobago. Mr. Phillip, welcome back.
Yes.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Before the break, I did ask you with regards to how do you vet, how do you determine this person is genuine? Because we do have, let's be as transparent as possible this morning. We do have the government of the day when it comes to services, right? Social welfare and things like that. We have pensions and other grants that are available. So that's one option. We also have many NGOs in our country, that's the fact as well, that depend on the citizens of the land to assist. And now we are aware, for those who were not aware, that the St. Vincent de Paul is there with regards to the homes, and then you have the elderly homes, and then you have the shelter for men, which I think is marvelous, as well as that home in Baratari for the mentally ill citizens. But really, how do you determine this person or this family is genuine?
No, when you asked me that question, this phrase or verse of scripture came to mind, that which talks about the rain falls on the just and the unjust, right? And for me, saying that is that God provides for all humanity, not just the righteous, but also the unrighteous. And I'm saying this is that even though there are policies where you assess the person to see their needs in terms of what they may need, because sometimes persons see the poor as persons who have started, persons who look a particular way. But we do have people among us that may have a very big house and might be driving the most very expensive car, right? And we would have seen this happen during COVID. When COVID happened, it has exposed a whole lot of Pandora's box of what people's lives are really are. So in saying that, we will do the assessment and we will give on the assessment. But however, my policy, my motto is that if somebody is hungry, regardless of who they are, why deny that person something to eat? And even though you might say they may have access to other organizations and so forth, yes, so be it. But the other one is that they come in to us for that support. And therefore, we are obligated to provide the support once we see it's applicable. But even if the person needs something to eat, you feed that person. You don't ever turn away a hungry person. And especially persons who have children, women and children are the most vulnerable group. And I always say You don't ask the person to come back 2 or 3 days. If you have it, you give it now because you don't know what you are sending that person into a situation that they may want to thief, they may want to do some ungodly things to get money to provide support for their families. So, yes, you will have an assessment, but however, if it's outside of the assessment and somebody come, because for somebody to come to you to ask for something to eat, it is taking away part of the dignity to say, I'm hungry, please help me. Because some persons are very prideful and they may not want to come to that, but for a person to come to you to say that they're hungry, then I don't think we should turn away that person from providing whatever help we can.
Mr. Philip, you said something that's very real and very deep, and I would have had the experience, I think, during the COVID time. I would have given some hampers, and people would have had to meet me at one point in order to get the hampers, and it was always in an area where, easy, accessible, and a safe place. And I remember clearly people coming to pick up hampers with with cars, brand name cars, and I was, and I remember somebody was with me helping me, that went along with me to help distribute for the people that would meet us. And she said, Zelisa, what madness is this, these people? And I said, girl, don't question exactly what you just said. Don't question the car they're driving, or perhaps we didn't see the houses or the house that they live in. We have to do it by the leap of faith that they ask. We acknowledge that we're going to assist, and we have to give it with a good heart. We know we are giving it in good faith, And so you're correct. Sometimes we judge, but we really don't know beyond, or we don't know the true story. We don't know. So you're absolutely correct. And I think with the years that you've been involved, you would also know, and understand exactly what it is like out there. It's difficult. It's really difficult. People are really going through difficult times. And sometimes when you have one person being the breadwinner, you come and find out they lose their job. And how they're going to survive, how much, they would have exhausted all of their funds, maybe family members sometimes because of pride too. They don't want, many different reasons. And so if you can help, especially when it comes to food, you're very correct. It is very sensitive and it's very important that you don't turn away somebody who says, I'm hungry, especially with children.
But I just want to stick up as well, because, recently we see so many persons losing their jobs, right? We saw the CPEP workers, we saw, other workers, URP, and the list goes on and on and on. And the list of persons who are requesting food support has grown significantly. And even though the government may have certain things in place, but again, I talk about the vagrancy and the homelessness in Port of Spain, but also the government also have the responsibility as the first set of responders to provide that support, to work with various organizations, not just St. Vincent de Paul, but other organizations to see how we can alleviate, because this work is not about what St. Vincent de Paul could do. This work has to do with what everybody can do to help with the situation, and in terms of how do we address mental issues or the homeless on the street, how can we address different things that are affecting persons' daily life, what programs are there for persons in the grassroots communities, so that the young persons can turn to those programs instead of way of crime, because all that is poverty, because when there's a rise in poverty, some persons turn to crime. It's not the right way. But again, poverty affects every single one, regardless we like it or not. It affects everyone, and there are consequences when certain things happen in society that may drive people to actions that they don't really want to go into.
Especially, you made a valuable point with regards to, I'm not saying that it's right, it's very wrong, and it should never be an option, and that, of course, is shoplifters. But I remember a lady saying, well, I had to steal this bread because I have to find food for my children. Sorry, but, so they're sensitive and some stories that are real and genuine as well, and they feel like they don't have an option. But I always say, ask and you shall receive,
Yeah. Yes. Mhm.
Let's
Yes,
talk a little bit about, so we've covered the elderly homes. For those that need, in terms of your homes, are you filled to capacity? Are you overflowing? What is, that like at this current time?
Okay, so in Tobago, we got 3/4 filter capacity, one. In San Fernando, we are just above half the capacity in San Fernando. In Arima, it's just above half as well. And also all our homes are just above
Okay.
half to 3/4. Yes.
Okay. So you do have room currently?
We do have room, yeah, currently.
What is the criteria in terms of, as you have room, there are people that are looking at this show right now and they are saying, perhaps this is an option for me. I could take, there are people who have nobody to take care of them. You're correct. Many situations and reasons why. And they feel that, okay, I'll be safe in a home because I'll be taken care of. I have a shelter over my head. I have somebody there to relate to, things like that. Take my it's important for people that are looking right now and saying, well, this could be an option, or seeing a light at the end of the tunnel today watching this show. Could you guide perhaps protocol or what would be the steps that they need to take in order to be admitted into your homes, especially for the elderly?
Okay, but so being in a home to some people has a stigma, meaning that they've forgotten and nobody wants them. So some, they might see it as a way that this is how you said it, to have other persons around them like their age and they can relate to and those things like that. And what happens to, we don't cater for persons with severe, for example, mental issues like Alzheimer's or dementia and those things like that. We are not trained in that area. If we stay in the home and you develop, then we will be able to work along with that. But to work with persons who have severe mental issues, it is a challenge for our staff at the home. Right? So that is one of the things. So we do an assessment and with the family to see what can be paid or how much can be paid or none can be paid. We do have persons at the home who are not paying anything. But we cannot take in a lot of persons who are not paying anything because we have the home to run in terms of finances and to pay staff.
Yes. But
But
at
we
least
do
they
have
can,
one.
but if they are collecting a pension, perhaps that pension could contribute or go towards to assist, because I understand you have your bills to pay, you have to find food, you have to pay staff,
Right.
they depend on, of course.
Yeah, but those are persons who are collecting pension, but there are persons who may not be from the island and collecting anything at all. And it is up to the family to provide that support. And we do have cases like that, where we
Okay.
have one or two persons in the institution. And as well, even though some family may not want to put their family in a home, because the family itself holds on to the pension and spends the pension and have control over their pension, and even though their loved ones, the elderly are being mistreated and those things like that. So there are different circumstances, and sometimes they put them in the home, and the family refuse to pay the home fees, even though they're receiving the pension from the government.
Yeah.
So there are different things to consider when we're doing that, having the money go to the bank and those things like that, stand in order or whatever it is. We
Right.
try to work with the family.
Understood. I'm in conversation with Mr. Nigel Phillip. He is the National Council President of the St. Vincent de Paul here in Trinidad and Tobago, in existence, of course, for 169 years and doing a marvelous job, Let's go to these messages. When we return, we continue our conversation with Mr. Phillip. He's based in Tobago. When we return, we continue our conversation. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, young people, senior citizens, it is my pleasure and privilege to invite you to look at the program Inspire on Real TV at 2 p.m. every Wednesday afternoon. Inspired is designed to lift your spirits, to help you overcome depression and failure so you could be an outstanding, extraordinary success. We have special experts every Wednesday who will inspire you to do better, to be your best self. So may God bless you. And remember, every Wednesday at 2 p.m., please look out for the program Inspire.
When security matters most, choose Catch Security Services Limited. We are proudly approved by the Ministry of Homeland Security. We protect your home, business, community, and much more. Our services include professional baton and armed officers, specialized K-9 units, mobile patrols, secure cash pickups, secure transport, and pepper spray applications and supply coming soon. Don't wait. Secure your assets now. Contact Catch Security today. Call 622-6601, email info@cssl-tt.com, or visit our office at 30-32 Saddle Road, Maraval.
I am Zelisa Rupani, inviting you to join me for the rebirth of Apne Sitare, Our Stars, a vibrant and spectacular show celebrating the incredible local talents of the sons and daughters of Trinidad and Tobago. Experience the beauty of our culture through singing, dancing, and musical performances as we keep the arts alive and shining bright. Tune in right here on Real TV every Sunday from 1 p.m. for Apne Sitare, Our Stars. See you there.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. Today I'm in conversation with Mr. Nigel Phillip. Mr. Phillip is the National Council President of the St. Vincent de Paul here in Trinidad and Tobago. He's based in Tobago. Welcome back, Mr. Phillip.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Phillip, perhaps you could give us a little insight and some information on the shelter designed for men in particular. Can you share some insight?
Okay, so the shelters that have that accommodate or provide accommodation for men is not a shelter that you can come and stay like for a long period, right?
Okay.
There is one on Duncan Street that in Nazareth House. Do have men living there for a period of time. I mean, I came in and I met that while I was in office,
right,
and I have left as it is. But shelters sometimes, like the night shelter in San Fernando, persons might need a place to sleep or a bath, or a nice meal or something like that, and they pay a very small fee, and I think it's between $50. I think it's about $50 to $100, or most likely I think it's $50 a night that they pay to stay there. Sometimes they return, and sometimes they don't return. But it's in the day you're supposed to be out there looking for a job, and if you want to come back, you can come back and you can stay a night and have.
So they pay. There's a fee attached, but they pay per night, which a safe place to sleep. $50.
Yes, a night. Yes.
How long they allowed to stay for? Because $50 a night, fives are, thinking in
Yeah, that's very minimal. They could stay there. Most of them they don't stay. Most of them they will find somewhere to go. Because some of them are employed, huh? Some of them are employed, and they might just and then the one in the one in Port of Spain, they pay $500 a month to stay there, and they sometimes provide them with a meal as well while in Port of Spain there. But
how many rooms? When they pay $500 a month, how many rooms do you have? Is it full to capacity at this time, or, you know?
Presently, we are about 3/4 full to capacity there.
Okay.
I would not have anyone come in there because of the shelter itself, because the person that who stays on Downton Street sometimes I wouldn't say maybe high risk, and some person may not want to stay among them, right? So again, if persons are comfortable staying there, they can stay there. But persons who want to stay in San Fernando, who within San Fernando area, they can stay within San Fernando area. Could pay the $50. If they can't, we will waive it. But it's not something that if you have nowhere to go, we would say here what we're not taking you in. We would assess the situation, and then we can say here we can stay here for a few nights, and then you need to find a job in order to move on or to help yourself.
Okay. In terms of, I want to talk a little bit quickly before we wrap up about your home for the mentally challenged in Barataria.
Yeah.
Could you give us a little insight, please, sir?
That home is called Poetry Millennium Home. It's strictly for women with mental issues.
Okay.
Not severe mental issues, but it's from its minor to slightly advanced mental issues. So the persons that put their loved ones there, the women, and sometimes we get referrals from St. Anne's, the mental hospital. If the persons do not want them back in their homes, the family, they can be referred to us, and we would provide that care and support. But it's strictly for women.
Recently, I've been doing a lot of research on people with memory loss, dementia, things like that, right? And in cases like that, and in conversation with people very recently, their personal experiences, like I was talking to a friend, and he was saying that his father was just very abusive, would beat him, would slap him, they would slap the mummy, he was becoming very aggressive, and they had to put him in a home because he just couldn't, the mother couldn't take care of him. They couldn't because of his aggression and different, things. And I said to him, the difference, what is understanding is that your father may not remember names or may not remember you, but the fact is you remember him and you know him. And you know this is a medical condition. So you have to have the understanding and the compassion within your heart and your soul to, it doesn't matter what he dishes out, you have to be strong to deal with it.
Well, and that is very true. It's Zelisa, is your name, right?
Yes.
That is very, very true. And it's very sad when you see your loved one depreciates like that. It hurts you knowing that they were once strong and mentally proactive, and now they mentally decline. Will affect the family in terms of how the family operates. It brings stresses upon that family. So you're very, very right. But I also want to say this. Even though if you wish, maybe in the future, near future, you want to visit some of our homes, I can open that invitation to you to visit to see what our homes look like and the services that we offer. And if persons wish, they can also reach out to me, and I can also make the arrangement if they want to put their loved ones at the institution. They are free and willing, they can also do that as well.
That is very kind of you, and I think that's applaudable as well, because it would give the families who are, and let me tell you something, it's also, and now I'm speaking on behalf of families, it's also very, very difficult and hard for them to have to reach a point where they have to say, I can't handle this person anymore, or it's also very, very sensitive. But given the opportunity to perhaps tour and have a look at and be there, would give the individuals a better understanding of making the right choices, of feeling, all right, I feel good in my soul, or I feel good that this is a good option,
Yes.
And how can they
Yes.
contact you, sir?
They can contact me at my cell number at 729-5818, or they can contact the office, my office in Trinidad, at 229-0502.
So that's 229-0502. That's 229-0502. That's why I always ask my viewers to have a little notebook, Real TV, so they could take notes on important numbers. Now, also, if you didn't get it for some reason, you're free to call us at Real TV anytime. We'll be happy to disperse to share his number with any one of our viewers. All right. Your closing comments, sir. What would you like to leave us with this morning?
Well, I just want to say three things quickly as we close.
Please,
And
take
one
your
of the
time.
things I quickly. So one of the things I also, because you said you have viewership in Canada and the US and those areas. So we do have donors from the Catholic Church there that make contribution to our conferences in Trinidad and Tobago every quarter or so, which we call twinning. So I just want to say thanks to the church there and the members of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, both in Canada and the US. Right, and I also want to persons who are wishing to give somehow to the work that we do, they can call in numbers that is there, or they can contact me directly, and we can give you the Society of St. Vincent de Paul account. And one of the things I want to leave us with is that one of our core values in Mito is which states no act of charity is too small. Service to others is central to the society's mission, and that is our mission. Service to man, service to God, and we will go way and beyond to provide whatever support that we can and to bring some sort of elevation to the need that that person is going through. We may not help with everything, but we may help with something that will be able to help you within the moment that you need relief for. So again, feel free to reach out to us, and we will try to work with you in whatever way we can once we can do that.
Thank you, Mr. Philip. Every little will accumulate. Every drop of water, if you have the patience, will fill a glass. It may take longer, but the fact is it's going to make a difference to quench a thirst. And so we ask of you out there. We understand and we know firsthand in terms of challenges or lack of the money that you used to have or things like that. But every little I always say will accumulate and will make a difference in the life of someone. So Mr. Philip, I want to thank you kindly for taking time this morning out of your busy schedule to spend some time with us here on Conversations to enlighten us about the marvelous work that you are doing. You're saving lives, you're helping lives, you're giving that level of comfort to have a place to sleep, to have a bath, to have somewhere that they don't have to face the storms out there, and So may God bless you and your team as you continue to to work very hard. You continue to be that beacon of light. May God continue to bless you and your team richly, and thank you. I'm sure we'll be having more conversations. All the best, sir. Thank you kindly.
Okay,
have a great day, sir. Take care. This is where we're going to wrap things up for today. I want to remind you to be kind, to be courteous, to do the best that you can at all times. I also want to remind you that life is very, very delicate. And when we say tomorrow is not promised, let me tell you something, it's not about tomorrow. I've learned firsthand that it's about the next second, the next minute, the next hour is so crucial. Don't take time for granted, and do not ever take your loved ones for granted. I also want to talk to you a little bit about your health. When we say your health is your wealth, it is everything. It is extremely important to take care of your health. When you see those red flags, or the moment you don't feel right, discuss it with somebody. Early intervention can save your life. Keep smiling, be positive, know the best is yet to come. More importantly, there are miracles if you have faith and trust in God, because with God and only God, all things are possible. Thank you kindly for choosing us here on Real TV, reminding you that Bridging the Gap is at 12 o'clock with NACA, Stick and Stay Ultimate in Programming, right here on Real TV. I am Zelisa Budusing Rupani. Thanks for choosing us.